What's up, golfers? Welcome back to New 9 Golf. Today, Ping has given us an exclusive look at the all-new G430 driver lineup. So the three models of the G430 is the G430 Max, the G430 LST, and the G430 SFT, which stands for Straight Flight Technology. That's for you slicers out there, so it has a draw bias, so it's definitely gonna help you keep the ball in play. Some main differences that are upgraded from the 425 model is they've increased ball speed, they've improved the sound, and they've incorporated spin consistency into their driver face. Basically, these driver faces have kind of an egg shape. What that's gonna do is it's definitely gonna help improve your miss hits, and who doesn't want that in a driver? What I'm gonna do for this video is I'm gonna hit the G430 Max and the LST to find out which is best for my game. I'll give you my overall feedback on what I think of how it looks, how it sounds, how it feels, and of course, we're gonna take a look at the data. So the first thing I'm gonna do is hit the G430 Max. Let's go to the mat. Okay guys, now that we're on the mat, we're gonna take a look at the visuals. I'll tell you what I'm seeing so far, and if you're a visual guy like me, you're gonna love to know that Ping has kept the turbulators on the top of the crown. I love looking at the turbulators because it really helps me line up the ball. So if you've played Ping for a long time, you'll love to know that these are back. Looking at the sole of the driver, they've changed it up and put a little bit more color into play onto their driver. This year they have kind of a neon green, or I can't quite tell if it's yellow or neon green. It's somewhere in between the two, but it looks really good. It has the kind of traditional black accents and a little bit of silver in it, but overall it's a very clean looking driver. And so far I'd put this in the running for one of the best looking drivers coming into 2023. Ping also has the tungsten removable weight at the back. If you want to put it on a draw or fade bias, you can do so with the tungsten weight. For this video, I have it on the draw bias. The shaft I'm going to be using in this driver video is the Ping Tour shaft. This is actually a year older shaft. We don't have the new Tour shaft yet, but this has given me pretty good results in the past, so it's going to stay consistent as I hit both of these drivers. The driver faces on these G430s are still forged, which is similar to previous faces. What is different though is Ping has introduced that spin consistency, which is gonna help my miss hits. So I'm interested to see in my session how my miss hits go, because they should be improved from last year's G425. Overall, I think this thing looks awesome. Because I'm a visual guy, I would definitely pick this up off the rack. So I'm interested to hear in the comments what you guys think of the looks of the G430. Okay guys, we're ready to do some hits. As always, we're using a Trackman. We're also using a Pro V1 RCT ball. Where we're filming in Calgary, it's about 3,400 feet elevation, so keep that into consideration when you're taking a look at my driver numbers. Let's give this G430 Max a hit. Okay guys, first thing out of the gate, that thing felt melted. I'm gonna talk about the sound really quick. Even just in my practice swings, this thing sounds like a sword cutting through the air. I'm not quite sure if that's the turbulators that are creating that sound or what it is, but just in my practice swing, I get a lot of confidence just hearing that Ping swing through the air. That was pretty cool. Like always, what I'm gonna do for the comparisons is I'm gonna get a sample size of 10 good drives. I'm gonna delete my worst and delete my best, so I have a good baseline to judge the G430 Max. Okay, so far this thing sounds awesome. You guys know watching my videos, I'm a huge advocate for drivers that sound good, and this G430 Max sounds freaking awesome. Ping has always been known for drivers that sound really good, but in my preference so far, I think the 430 sounds better than the 425. We'll keep hitting and get some data. Okay guys, there's my first kind of miss hit we caught. My smash factor went way down, but the ball still stayed in play. It looks like the ball is maybe catching just the right side of the fairway, maybe into the first cut of rough. So if that's what you can expect from a miss hit, if I'm still getting 300 yards at a 1.41 smash factor, this 430 Max is super forgiving. See, I needed one bad one to get a good one in play. Okay, here's something that is blowing my mind so far with the G430 Max is look at my spin. I have never hit a forgiving driver of the same category as the 430 Max that I get such low spin. I can see why guys on the PGA Tour, kind of like Tony Finau, decide to hit the Max over the LST. So I'm gonna say that this driver is not only for weekend warriors, high handicap, low swing speeds, this driver could be for gamers. This is totally changing my perception of the Max driver. Man, that's large. That's gross, man. I've hit a lot of low spinning heads, and I can't believe this being the 430 Max is arguably one of the lowest spinning heads that I've hit. I'm interested to see what happens when I hit the LST because that head should be even lower spin. But these numbers so far are awesome. We talked about Ping improving their ball speed. I got 174 ball speed out of there, which is large numbers. I'm picking up speed as well. I don't think I've ever swung a Ping driver around that 118 mile-an-hour club head speed. So whatever they've done in the engineering behind the G430 Max, it's picking up ball speed and club speed, which is awesome. Who doesn't want to hit it further? So I still have a full-time job. If any of you guys are new to the channel, my name's Brandon. I do a ton of club reviews just like this one. So if you haven't already, smash subscribe. That was toey for sure. I wasn't sure if that would come back. So that one I felt right away was a miss hit. I could feel it on the toe, and something that I really like about this driver head is how I feel the ball across the club face. I've hit other drivers where the toe feels the same as the heel, feels the same as the center of the club face. This has very good feedback up and down the face. So if you're a golfer that likes to feel where on the club face you're hitting it, this could be a driver for you. Okay guys, that ends my session with the G430 Max, and that thing felt awesome and it sounded so good. From what I remember looking at the data, I can't believe a driver that I've had such low spin consistently. Let's take a look at the numbers. So the first thing I have to do is delete my best and delete my worst. Let's try to find my worst. Thinking it's gonna be the first one. I hit kind of this like smother pull. Based on everything I can find, this seems to be the worst. So we'll delete this guy. And let's try to find my best. 313, 341. Did I have anything? Oh, 343, 33, 34, 46. Whew. Man, these are large. Let's delete this one, just off the line. It was only 14 feet right of my line. 312 carry, 346 total. Just over 2,000 spin. So we're gonna call that my best. So we'll delete this guy. Okay guys, now we have a good average baseline of data that we've collected. One more thing we're gonna talk about is dispersion. Here inside the circle, you can see how consistent this driver head was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drives that I've kept are all within a couple yards of each other. Keep in mind too, to narrow the dispersion, you can go for a proper fitting, get the head settings dialed in, the shaft dialed in. For this, because we're using just one shaft, I think there could be room for improvement. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at the dispersion. Okay guys, now I got the G430 LST, and the biggest difference right off the bat that I noticed is right onto the crown. This has what they call the carbon fly crown wrap. You'll notice the crown looks slightly different and the wrap creeps in to the sole of the driver face. So what they're doing with this crown is they're taking weight off of the crown and putting it closer towards the sole to get the weight down and back. The other visuals look very similar to that 430 Max. It still has the same color combo, still has the nice accents of kind of some gunmetal, the muted black, and then Ping is more of that titanium look, or kind of like a shiny silver. Overall, I love the look of this thing. It still has the turbulators, which is that Ping signature. Overall, these drivers look awesome. I'm thrilled with how these look. So the LST is slightly smaller. This is coming in at 440 cc's, where the 430 Max was 460 cc's, which is pretty typical for a lot of the lowest spinning heads. A lot of companies have gone to the 440 cc head, which is what Ping has done here. As soon as I put the club head behind the ball, I noticed that it was just slightly smaller. So we'll see what type of results I can get out of the LST. Just in my practice swing, I'm thinking it feels just slightly heavier. I'm trying to recall from swinging the 430 Max, but just in my feel, it feels just slightly, just ever so slightly heavier. Okay, let's do work, LST. So the LST also has a slightly deeper face than the 430 Max. That kind of comes up to personal preference. Some guys really like a deeper face driver. For me, visually looking at it, I don't really notice much of a difference, but just know that it is a deeper face driver. I don't know why I feel like I'm fighting the weight. I've always had troubles with fade bias drivers too, and just looking at it, I feel like the head is fade bias. That was better. So the first thing that I noticed through my first couple swings is I can really feel a weight difference in the head from the LST to the 430 Max. And I don't know if it's good or bad, it's just one of the first things that I noticed in picking it up. I can feel a lot more weight in the head of the LST than I did the 430 Max. I'm not sure if it's a good or bad thing, it's just one of the things that I feel through my first couple swings. And that felt like hammered. Well, it's funny, for how good that felt, that was one of my worst results. Okay guys, that wraps up my collection of 10 hits. I gotta get in here and delete my best and worst. Okay guys, let's try to find my worst hit. Usually I look at my carry and my total. Sometimes I look at spin. This one here, 300 total, or 300 carry, 321 spin. 300, 315, way high spin. That's, look at that shot shape. Okay, that's obviously the worst. So let's delete that. Let's take a look at the best. What was the best one that I had? 314 in the air, 335, 314, 335 cut. We gotta delete that one. Okay, now we have our sample size of all of our drives with the ping. We had it going both ways, couple going left, couple going right. The thing that stands out to me, which is really quite mind-blowing, is that I had higher spin off of the LST head than I did the 430 Max. That's crazy. One of the factors that I think that is because my smash factor went down. My smash factor on the LST went down to 145 versus an average of 147. I'm thinking because it's a smaller head, I had more mishits than I did from the 430 Max. So from a forgiveness standpoint, I would say that the 430 is definitely more forgiving. I just can't believe that it had lower spin than the LST. So let's start comparing these averages. If I look at the carry of the 430 Max, 309 average versus 304. So the Max is hitting it further based on the carry. Total average, 340 on the 430 Max, 327. So overall, the 430 Max was performing way better for me. And this is what's crazy about golf clubs in general. If I was to go on the Ping website and buy one of these drivers without even hitting it, I would 100% buy the LST, thinking that I'm a faster club head speed, I need a lower spinning head, the LST should be better for me. But based on my hits, the results are totally opposite. This is why I preach to you guys to go get fit for these clubs. Hit them before you buy them. That is so crazy that the spin was that much different. Let's take a look at the dispersion. So the dispersion is still super tight. That was very similar to the 430 Max. If I compare these two, this is the 430 LST versus the 430 Max. So the ping head, the 430 head in general, is a very, very, very consistent head. I would take both of those dispersions. Again, I could go for a fitting and tighten it up, but it looks like I actually had more dispersion inside the grid on the LST versus the 430 Max. I had a couple missed to the right. I think based on this session, if I did a proper fitting with a professional fitter, I could get these to improve even more. Based on how the driver looks, how it feels, and how it sounds, I would put the Ping G430 in the top running for possibly the driver of 2023. Overall, I'm very impressed with all of those categories I just mentioned, and I'm really excited to see what else Ping has in store for 2023. If any of you are interested in the G430 lineup, I'd be interested to hear what head you're lining towards, and if you've hit them, I'm wondering if you had the same results that I did. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'll check in with you next time.